Hello everyone, welcome back to some more of The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Last time, not a great deal of twists happened, I should say. Yes, so, as I seem to remember, let's see, Mikotoba and Sholmes came back from their trip, putting Jigoku into custody where he's being questioned and all that. And after that, we had a whole feast. Yeah. And yeah, I guess during or I guess after that feast, we found out a few things from Sholmes. Namely, the fact that he intercepted this telegram a long time ago, before the game even started. And he had, just to make sure of something, he had sent Hosonaga all the way up to Jigoku's office to see if that telegram's there, which it was, so that means, and all the names that are on here are the same names we found. Sorry, I thought I heard something. Anyways, they're all the same names that we found at the end of case 5 of the first game. These ones, obviously. Now, these names are special because Holmes knows that A. Shin was a professional killer. And, so he's wondering, I guess from the gist of it is that essentially is that, what if this is an assassin exchange? Because we heard, remember, Asogi was supposed to send on a mission to kill the Mark. He didn't specify what kind of Mark it was. So Sholmes believes that this was a instead of an exchange of students, this was an exchange of assassins, which would make sense. A. Shin killed J. Wilson. K. Asogi would kill T. Gregson. Or something else. Maybe he was assigned to kill Gregson and then something happened. I don't know. But anyways, the point is, let me fix my microphone for a second. The point is, things didn't exactly go the way they were supposed to go, from the looks of it. And yeah. Anyways, I crack my knuckles because that's how you know things are getting serious. And, yeah, I guess let's just get into it. We're in the next day. The old Bailey courtroom. Let's, do this.
Before we begin today's day, I have a brief announcement. As with the closed trial 10 years ago, some astonishing facts have come to light in these proceedings. The revelation that the well-known Reaper is actually an organization illegally executing its own brand of justice, and the discovery that a yard inspector was at its heart until he himself perished in an assassination plot. Well, I say to all members of the judiciary here present on this occasion, that we will stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth behind these disturbing findings. Counsels, you will undertake this trial with a resolve to pursue the truth to the bitter end.
Resolve. Yes. That's my intention.
My lord, if I may inquire.
The defendant may speak.
On what grounds is Kazuma Sogi permitted to continue his role as prosecutor? He has admitted to colluding with the victim in a plot to assassinate an innocent man. He shouldn't be enjoying the privilege of freedom, let alone be leading the prosecution.
I submitted a written petition to Lord Strongheart, requesting that judgment of my transgressions be delayed by 1 day. Yeah?
You did what?
In today's proceedings, I intend to expose everything.
My whole life for the last 10 years has all been leading up to this 1 day.
Kazuma, whatever the outcome of this trial, I give my word that I will accept whatever punishment is deemed appropriate, however severe.
And I suggest you prepare yourself for the same, Reaper.
Kazuma is bristling with hostility today. I get the distinct impression we're heading into some very dangerous territory. Is that really even Cosmo-sama standing before us?
As an extreme exception to normal practices, I have granted this prosecutor's request. The defense finds this acceptable, I presume.
Yes, my lord.
In that case, in the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. We resume the closed hearing of Beric Van Zeeks.
The defense is ready, my lord.
The prosecution is more than ready.
Very well then. The preamble has taken long enough. Prosecutor Zoe, begin.
As you wish, my lord. The prosecution calls the first witness to the stand. Bring Seishiro Jigoku into the courtroom.
At last, then, we reach the final battle. He's putting literally everything on the line now in order to get to the truth. Come on, Ryunosuke. It's time for that steely resolve, because this is going to test it to the limit. Witness, state your name and occupation for the court.
So it was you who issued this, was it?
Your subpoena. I did what was necessary.
Well, look what the young man has become. I didn't think I'd see the day when you'd take that tone with me, I must say.
The witness will ensure his responses are pertinent to the questions asked.
My name is Seishiro Jigoku, a Supreme Court judge from the Empire of Japan.
16 years ago, this man came to London as a visiting student. 6 years later, he returned to Japan. As well as presiding over the Supreme Court, he is also currently Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs.
I am of course fully aware of Mr. Jigoku and his preeminent roles. I invited him personally to the International Forensic Science Symposium as a representative of his country. I hear he also played a key role in the conclusion of the Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation.
It was a great honor to be involved in the negotiations. I put my all into that treaty.
Is this voice too gravelly? Whatever. Judge Jigoku, I must ask.
Well, I never. Fancy the young murdering student turning up here of all places.
You acquitted me yourself, and now I'm a practicing defense lawyer.
Yes, and full of self-importance like your friend across the courtroom, I see.
You came here to London by invitation to the International Forensic Science Symposium. But then, without informing anyone of your plans, you took flight to France.
Took flight? I'd have to object to that turn of phrase.
Then explain yourself. What exactly were the circumstances?
Well, I was somewhat expecting this, and I'm sorry to say, I decline to comment.
What?
Leaving the country prematurely when I was invited a guest may be a questionable etiquette. But my decision is unrelated to this case. I cannot be bound to testify.
Unrelated, you say?
I appreciate that a respected police inspector has been killed, for which I offer my condolences. However, being an alien, I'd obviously never met the man, nor do I know the first thing about him. As such, I'm in no position to testify. It's as simple as that.
So you would run from all this?
I beg your pardon?
This case is more far-reaching than the murder of Inspector Gregson. It has ties to another murder, a case that was tried in court in Japan almost a year ago now. A year ago in Japan, The murder of Dr. John H. Wilson, you mean? That's right. And you, Judge Jigoku, are at the heart of both cases. The defense has evidence to prove it. Well, Ryunosuke, I see from the look in your eyes that you're resolved to carry this through to the very end, too. Let's see your evidence, then. What proof do you have that Seisho Jigoku is involved in this case? Easy.
Take that!
This is a telegram detailing our communications sent between Britain and Japan approximately a year ago. The communication contained 4 names: Kei Asogi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, and J. Wilson.
Hold it! You little... Where did you get that?
In Tokyo. From your office, Judge Jigoku.
What? How on earth did you...
What's all this about? Why is my name on that list? This list of 4 names follows a certain pattern. T. Gregson and J. Wilson are the names of victims. Kei Asogi and A. Shin are the names of assassins. No. A year ago in Tokyo, Dr. John H. Wilson's life was taken in a Western-style restaurant in the capital. The culprit was found to be a visiting student who went by the name of Giselle Brett. But her real name was Asa Shin, a professional killer sent on a mission to kill from Great Britain. A. Shin and a victim, J. Wilson. And the murder that just took place here in London was the counterpart to that crime. An assassin sent from Japan, also a visiting student, Kazuma Asogi, whose victim was the British police inspector Tobias Gregson. Kei Asogi and T. Gregson. One assassin from each country to kill a target residing in the other.
What exactly is the defense suggesting?
These 2 cases of murder, one that took place in Britain and one in Japan, were masterminded by a pair of individuals from each country as a form of assassin exchange. And the telegram the defense has acquired is proof of this international contract to kill.
What?
The telegram was found in your office, Judge Jigoku. In other words, the mastermind in Japan was you. Judge Jigoku? What is all this about? And you, Kazuma, you lied. During yesterday's proceedings, you acknowledged that you accepted the assassination mission. But the mark wasn't Judge Jigoku at all. It was T. Gregson, Detective Inspector of Scotland Yard, as shown by the name on the killing contract. I mean, to be fair, he said he was going to go kill the mark. He didn't specify who the mark was, so... Very impressive, Ryunosuke. But actually, I didn't lie. The name of the target I was ordered to kill never passed my lips yesterday. Yeah, he said the mark. And the idea that Seisho Jigoku was the mark came entirely from you. Ah. You deliberately avoided saying a name. Yeah, I know, yeah. We noticed that. He didn't say, oh, I'm killing Inspector. He didn't say I'm taking out Judge Jigoku. He said I'm taking out the mark. He didn't say who the mark was.
The defense claimed these 4 names indicate some sort of international assassin exchange. I'm sure I speak for all present when I say that the very idea seems utterly absurd. Well, Mr. Jigoku, what do you have to say for yourself?
His silence only goes to prove his guilt. There's another very important point that this new development brings to light. There's now a distinct possibility that the scene of the Inspector Gregson's actual murder was in the witness's cabin aboard the SS Grouse. Judge Goku, you have to testify now. To refuse would put you in contempt of court.
There's no need for quite such a vicious stare, young man. Very well then. As a parting gift to you, I'll tell you everything I know.
It seems this Japanese gentleman has information that the court must hear about the alleged assassin exchange and the events of the night of the 31st of October. Present your formal testimony now.
As you wish, my lord.
Alright, what do you have to say for yourself?
It's true that Kazuma Sogi was assigned the assassination mission 1 year ago now. The target was Inspector T. Gregson. That was a condition of the British study tour. However, in the end something happened that meant the young man was unable to carry out his mission. On the evening in question, a member of the crew was on duty outside my cabin at all times. If there'd been a shot fired, the crewman would have heard it, so clearly I can't be involved.
So you admit it then, as this communication suggests, there really was an assassin exchange arrangement between Britain and Japan.
A political endeavor at the highest levels. Not something I can discuss here.
Not even in a closed court? To use such a worthy practice as foreign study to coerce somebody to commit murder is the most appalling thing I've ever heard.
Appalling? Well, it's easy to judge.
Pardon?
Asogi had a reason for taking his sword to that British inspector, you know.
What?
Which is why he accepted the mission in the first place. Isn't that right, Counsel?
Kazuma-sama. Judge Goku, if you are the mastermind behind this operation in Japan, then tell the court the identity of your counterpart in Britain.
I'm not obliged to divulge that information.
As I said yesterday, I've killed nobody. I freely admit that I accepted the mission, but on the night the plan was to be executed, I backed out. In short, this assassin exchange that the defense has identified is unrelated to the events of the case. No, it is related. Because both of y'all went on that ship. Both of y'all were part of the events. If you backed out at the last moment, guess what? Gregson is still there. Jigoku still could have killed him. If not, Asogi did. I don't know. But like, it doesn't matter if you backed out. The man's dead. Like, that's like even if the man's dead. Like, if you didn't kill him, who did? Because evidence shows both of y'all went on that ship to well, he said kill the mark. If we assume killed Inspector Gregson, that means he backed out at the last moment. To which case, the man still died. Like, so yeah, this is related.
The crucial point is this. Your police inspector can't have perished aboard that steamship in Dunkirk. Because if he'd been shot in the cabin, it's inconceivable that a member of the crew wouldn't have heard it.
That's right. Gregson was killed after returning to London, in the room on Fresno Street. And the perpetrator of the crime was the Reaper, Beric Van Zeeks. The prosecution's accusations remain unchanged.
To think that a seemingly innocent foreign exchange program was a facade for such Machiavellian dealings. Clearly, it's a plot only by a government minister and a high-ranking judge such as the witness could hope to execute.
Well, I seem to recall there was someone on the British side who controlled everything.
Be that as it may, it is not the place of this court to pursue this villainous assassin exchange plot. We are concerned only with the tangible events pertaining to the murder of Inspector Gregson. Is the defense clear on that point, counsel?
Yes, my lord. I'll keep that in mind as I cross-examine the witness. Alright. Huh. Let me see this now. It was true he assigned the assassination a year ago. Tour. Something happened that meant the young man was unable to carry out the mission. A member of the crew was on duty outside my cabin. After my shot fired, the crewman would have heard it, so I clearly can't have been involved, huh? I think there was something about that. Alright, that's right. Alright, we got all the evidence from... what's the thing called? From, Sholmes' investigation. Let's see him now. Small piece of metal or machine part. The telegram. Evacuation notice 31st of October. All crew members are required to assemble on the main deck at 10 p.m. to review the evacuation procedures. This drill will take 20 minutes. Crew to return duty as soon as normal. Oh, that's a lie. At all times, no, it wasn't, because there was an evacuation drill.
Objection!
Yes, as the court has heard, there was a crewman posted outside Judge Jigoku's cabin. However, we can be sure that, contrary to the witness's claim, the guard wasn't there at all times. What? I have here a notice of a particular event that was scheduled to take place aboard the steamship on the 31st.
What? Where did you get that?
It's evidence gathered by Mr. Herlock Sholmes. You were acquainted yesterday, if you remember.
Herlock Sholmes again.
According to this itinerary, after leaving the port of Dunkirk at exactly 10 p.m. and for a period of 20 minutes, all crewmen of the SS Grouse were to gather on deck for an evacuation drill. All crewmen were away from their posts. And during that 20-minute interval, of course, any gunshots emanating from your cabin would have been heard by no one. In summary, Judge Jigoku, you had ample opportunity to commit the crime.
Objection!
So apologies, I literally have to drink some like ginger ale or something like that so I don't destroy my throat. So yeah, apologies if you hear me drinking it. A 20-minute window of opportunity. That's an excellent find, Ryunosuke. But it amounts to nothing. Why? Because the witness clearly stated in his testimony that no incident occurred in his cabin. So he's not lying, is what you're saying? Unless you have some decisive evidence that could show this testimony to be false. Your accusation is nothing more than conjecture. Oh, we have evidence, all right.
Very true. Well, counsel?
Inspector Gregson was killed in Judge Jigoku's cabin that night. I'm certain of it. Because the defense has evidence to prove it.
You will present the evidence for the defense at once, counsel. What proof do you have?
Easy enough. Before we present the evidence, let's examine something first. Namely, this small component here. It's interesting, right? Looks like there's a small little hole. You see these little things all over the place, don't you? It's the part of the top of a pocket watch that you twist at the time, isn't it? It's called the crown, I believe. A watch will be quite useless without one. The crown? Like what sits on top of a monarch's head? That's a very grand name for such a tiny part. But actually... Yes, Mr. Naruto? If this is a crown, I have a feeling I might have seen a monarch around here with a very bare head. If by monarch you mean pocket watch, then I'm quite sure you have. If you recall, there is a pocket watch without a crown we've seen. That's come up really interestingly in this case. What do you think, Miss Susato? I feel I know exactly what will fit here. But really? I was just thinking precisely the same thing. We're about to see that little round component is actually part of Inspector Greggson's broken pocket watch. But really? I was just thinking precisely the same thing. A perfect fit. I knew it. Alright, perhaps you knew it. I'll make a note of this new information at once. So, to explain, what proof do we have? Easily, this small component.
Take that!
Judge Goku, this was found in your cabin yesterday.
What is that? The crown of a pocket watch?
A pocket watch.
And if you will observe, the victim's pocket watch, which we know he treasured, is missing precisely that part.
It can't be.
Moreover, this crown is a perfect fit on the spindle protruding from the victim's watch. Now, the fact that this was retrieved from Judge Goku's cabin tells us that the victim's watch almost certainly broke there. In other words, the victim was killed on the 31st during the 20-minute evacuation drill. In the cabin occupied by you, Judge Jigoku.
Well, you're razor sharp, aren't you, you young murderer?
Objection!
Expertly maneuvered, Ryunosuke. Yeah? And your argument sounds entirely plausible, at first. But rather like this pocket watch, it's full of cracks. What? And I believe Judge Goku feels the same way.
I was wrong to acquit you earlier in the year.
Sorry?
If I'd known that it would result in anyone having to listen to this drivel, I would have declared you guilty just to spare the world your ridiculous bombast.
I think it's clear that the witness will have to give further testimony.
When you hear what actually happened in my cabin that night, you'll notice the pitfall into which you've stumbled.
Then why don't you just say that from the beginning?
Prior to your renewed testimony, I would like to clarify one point. The fact that this part of the victim's watch was discovered in your cabin means that you acknowledge she was there, I presume?
Yes, I do.
Very well then. You may proceed to give your formal testimony about what exactly happened in your cabin aboard the ship on the evening of the 31st of October.
Of course. As a man of the law, I have no intention of obstructing justice. I had a guest waiting for me when I returned to my cabin after finishing my evening meal in the dining room. When I walked through that door, a mustachioed Englishman was there, foolishly waving a gun at me. I soon took care of him with the Nippon Soyoi throw, though He couldn't wait to run away after that. I imagine his watch was broken when I threw him over my shoulder. It has nothing to do with the murder. The inspector was clearly killed having returned to Britain, because his body was found in London.
Ipon Seoi.
Is it? No, it's Seoi, not Seoi. It's Seoi.
A common judicial martial arts technique in my country. I was careful not to use too much force, but the man obviously landed too heavily for his watch to take.
So, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, I imagine you can see the flaw in your logic now, can't you? What? The fact that the pocket watch was broken in the witness's cabin in no way proves that the victim's murder took place in there.
I've no doubt the inspector intended to kill me, but he didn't manage to pull the trigger.
Yes, because he was merely the tactician, not the Reaper's hand of death.
Well, the testimony appears to make perfect sense as far as I can tell.
Let me express my deep gratitude for your understanding, my lord.
But if this testimony holds, Judge Goku will be deemed to have had no involvement in the case.
Well, Counsel, I really see no reason for wasting precious court time here on a cross-examination.
Sorry, my lord. The defense has a right to cross-examine, and I don't intend to squander that.
You're an embarrassment to your countrymen, not knowing when you're beaten.
In that case, proceed, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yeah, he pulled the "you're an embarrassment to your country" card on us? Really? Really? Okay. Okay. Let's see what we got on you. Had a guest waiting for me. When I walked through the door, a mustachioed Englishman was there foolishly waving a gun. Took care of him. His watch was broken. His body was found in London. Okay. Huh.
Hold it!
Even though the man had a gun? That was a very brave move, wasn't it? Yeah, no, brave was stupid. He had a gun. You gonna run in for a throw?
My Ippon Seoi is far faster than a bullet, I can assure you.
But surely all that commotion caused the crewman to have come in, didn't it?
Yes, of course. He burst in immediately without knocking. The inspector hurled himself at the stocky fellow and managed to slip past them to make his escape.
The outstanding guard does it again.
Luckily, there aren't many situations where I can't get out of using a quick Ippon Seoi throw.
Alright. Huh.
Hold it!
Let's go before that then. Obviously, you're talking about Inspector Gregson.
Yes, though at the time I didn't know the man's name. And there was no time for introductions. I value my life over manners.
By which you mean that the inspector was there to assassinate you, I suppose.
That was certainly the impression given by the gun pointed in my direction. But I've never seen the muzzle of a revolver shake about so much in all my life. Anyone would think the man would never shot somebody before.
Believe it or not, most of us haven't.
Anyway, this was no time to call for help of the crewman at the door, so I dealt with the man myself.
Okay.
Hold it!
But there's no evidence that proves the victim ever returned to London alive.
Just take a moment to think the idea of yours through now, stripling.
What?
If the inspector was killed on the steamship in France, how on earth could he have got back to Britain? When people die, their bodies remain at that same spot. It's a devil of a thing.
Well, then obviously the culprit must have moved the body.
How exactly? Carrying a corpse off a ship in your arms would raise a few eyebrows at least, don't you think?
Well, yes, that's true, but
All passenger luggage is inspected when it is unloaded from arriving vessels.
that's a lie.
And I would like to think that the border police would query the corpse of an English gentleman as hand luggage.
If the murder had taken place aboard the ship, you would imagine the body would have been disposed of at sea. About that. There would be no sense in risking being caught by attempting to transport the body back to Britain. Ugh, that's killed that idea then. But perhaps not. Mrs. Otto? We've heard that the first-class passengers were under constant scrutiny by the crewmen posted to guard them, which would mean that the culprit had no opportunity to dispose of the body in the sea. Yes, that's true. So transporting the body to Britain may have been the only viable alternative.
Dear me, you really are new to this, aren't you? I thought it had been perfectly clear, but it seems I'm going to have to explain it in words you can understand. I think I ought to alter my testimony, with your consent, of course, my lord.
I have no objection. State your amended testimony now.
There's no possible way I could have transported the victim's corpse back to Britain.
Ah. Okay. This part that I remember. Okay. Sorry. So this is something that took me a while to get. So as you remember, there is in fact a way that Jigoku could have transported the body. Remember where we found him during Sholmes' investigation? In that big trunk? Yeah. We could have put Gregson's body in there and just carried it. The question is, what exactly do we do? Because that big trunk ain't here as evidence because we didn't need it as evidence until now. Or is it? As it turns out, here it is! Yeah. So, if we present the commemorative photograph here,
Objection!
there's no possible way you could have moved Inspector Gregson's body, you say? I would say the opposite is true.
And what's that supposed to mean?
Far from being impossible for you to do. The transport of Inspector Gregson's body back to Britain is something only you could do. What are you talking about, Ryunosuke? As well as being a judge, Mr. Jigoku is also Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs, which means he's exempt from having his luggage searched when he enters the country. We learned that when we first met you upon your arrival in London. Oh, sorry. I thought he was continuing from there.
Well, all those passport checks and luggage searches at the border took rather a lot of time. I must say, I'm very envious of your ministerial status. You didn't have to go through any of that, did you?
Ah, I knew you were jealous.
I presume you recall this, Judge Jigoku. It's a photograph we took in the foyer of the hotel to mark the occasion. As the court will note, you have with you your large travel trunk. Large enough, in fact, to have a corpse inside. Mr. Naruhodo, surely you're not suggesting... I'm afraid I am, yes. 3 days ago, when we were chatting innocently with the new arrivals from Japan in the hotel. The body of Inspector Gregson was just meters away from us, inside Judge Jigoku's trunk.
Order! Order in the court! I'm skeptical, counsel, that a grown man's body could fit inside even the largest travel trunk.
It could. Because I happen to know that the witness himself, a man of considerable size, fits inside this trunk. And verifying that would be extremely simple, wouldn't it, Judge Jigoku? But inside his trunk? How horrifying. And after we'd spoken with you at the Great Waterloo Hotel, you had the opportunity to visit the apparent scene on Fresno Street, taking your trunk with you in a cab to deposit the inspector's body.
I don't have to listen to this nonsense.
Dr. Gory, the coroner who examined the body, has confirmed the possibility. She's acknowledged that there are signs that steps may have been taken to disguise the true time of death. The onset of the body's decomposition could have been delayed by storing it in a refrigerator.
Counsel, as I remember explaining yesterday, refrigerators of the requisite size are few and far between.
Yes, I'm sure they are. But one place they're certainly found is on large ocean liners. Such ships are equipped with electrically refrigerated cold rooms to keep food fresh on their long sea voyages, and the SS Grouse is no exception. Professor Mikotoba told me about it only yesterday. Right, well, Judge Jigoku? However much you prolong this debate, you can't eliminate the truth. All the evidence points to you being the killer.
Well, this is all very heartening. I can see that it was the wise move letting Asogi and you embark on this study tour.
What are you talking about now?
Logical reasoning, of course. All the court proceedings will be built on logical reasoning in the new century. And I can see that you've both laid firm foundations for that already.
Judge Jigoku, please, stop diverting attention from the issue at hand. The defense has made an accusation against you. How do you respond?
Respond? There's really no need for me to respond, is there?
Why ever not?
Because, before you could even begin to answer the question of when the victim was killed, you must first establish one key fact. Where was the victim killed? It's quite logical.
The actual scene of the crime? The prosecution's stance is unaltered. The killing took place on Fresno Street when the gunshot was heard. As the accused, Berg Van Zeek shot the victim at point-blank range.
Since no tangible evidence exists to disprove the prosecution's claim at this time, the defense's deductions amount to little more than an elaborate fairy tale.
I'm afraid that's how the logical reasoning the British are known for really works, young stripling.
The victim was shot in that little room on Fresno Street and died instantly? I'm afraid it's the prosecution's claim that's the only fairy tale here. How can you say that? Quite simply, because that claim directly contradicts a certain piece of evidence in our possession.
Very tantalizing, counsel. I think you had better explain yourself to the court, don't you?
The prosecution claims that the Inspector Gregson died instantly when he was shot at the scene on Fresno Street. But this evidence clearly contradicts that claim. Namely, here, the photograph of the victim. As you can see, he's kinda curled up into a ball already. So...
Take that!
A photograph of the victim in the very location you claim he wasn't killed?
Yes, but the point is the posture of the body itself. If Inspector Gregson had been shot there in that room, it's out of the question his body would have been curled up in a ball like that.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, but your logic is flawed. He could easily have adopted a fetal position due to the pain of the shot, which subsequently proved fatal.
Objection!
I'm sorry to disappoint you, Judge Jigoku, but it's your logic that's flawed.
What?
According to this autopsy report, the victim died instantly. He would have felt no pain, much less have been able to draw himself into that position.
Ugh!
Which begs the question of why the victim's body was curled up in that way to begin with. Though the answer should be abundantly clear by now.
You're suggesting...
The inspector's body took on that posture ahead of its arrival on Fresno Street, before it was coldly turned out onto the floor, from the inside of a large travel trunk. No! You're quite right. The shape of the body. It looks exactly as if it had been kept in a confined space. Judge Jigoku, present your trunk for examination. I believe it's very possible that it will contain traces of the victim's blood.
Present my trunk? I refuse.
What? On what grounds?
I'm the Minister of Foreign Affairs from the Empire of Japan. I shouldn't have to put up with such this treatment just because of some stripling baseless accusations.
In other words, Judge Jigoku, there is blood on your trunk.
I decline to answer that. As the Minister of Foreign Affairs, I have privileges that...
At this moment, you're not a government minister. You're a witness to a trial in Britain's highest court. I don't care who you are, or what your status outside this courtroom might be. You will not withhold information. Nothing is more important than the truth.
Order. Order in the court. Well, Mr. Jigoku, what's it to be?
You can't be serious. You did it?
Have you no shame at all, Kazuma Sogi?
What?
Very well. I admit it. I did bring the inspector's body into the country. Inside my trunk, exactly as postulated by the defense.
But you...
Dear God! Outrageous!
So it was you. You admit to...
No. I admit to nothing more than what I've said. Of killing the man, I certainly have no recollection.
What on earth is that cryptic statement supposed to mean?
I merely disposed of the inspector's body, which was left in my cabin, in order to avoid unwanted attention. As the judicial assistant over there pointed out, I had no chance to throw it over into the ocean. So, I decided my only option was to bring it into Britain with me and dispose of it somewhere else.
You can't still deny it? If you didn't do it, then who on earth did kill the man?
As you know, there was only one other person in my cabin that night. He had the opportunity. And moreover, he'd already accepted a mission to take out the inspector's life.
Oh.
That's right. Who else could it have been? It was you, Kazuma Sogi.
You... I never thought you'd stoop to this, Seishiro Jigoku.
You've taken the words straight out of my mouth, Prosecutor Kazuma Sogi. You thought by leaving the body in my cabin you could pin the crime on me, did you?
Well, the prosecution has already admitted to visiting the witness's cabin on the night in question.
Yes, on an assassination mission, no less.
You wouldn't.
So, what do you make of that, young stripling? You've heard my testimony now, and that's all I have to say on the matter. I'll admit to nothing more.
I don't believe this.
Counsel for the defense. What is your position now? The court awaits your response to the witness's assertion. The assertion that on the night in question, the victim's assailant was in fact Mr. Kazuma Sogi.
This isn't the dead end it seems to be. The answer is right in front of me. It comes down to Jigoku or Kazuma. Both of them had the opportunity to kill Gregson, but only one of them did it. And I'm just a step away from proving who. Very well. The defense is ready to respond to the assertion put forward by Judge Jigoku. The idea that the victim's murder could have been committed by Prosecutor Sogi is something that will be answered next time. Yeah, sorry, I don't like leaving cliffhangers normally, but well, we are like 50-something minutes in, and we do have a lot to handle. Yeah. We have a lot more to go through, so right now, this is probably the safest place to, I guess, stop. We could continue longer. Nah, I'd rather stop here. So, next time we're going to determine who exactly killed Gregson. Was it Kazuma Sogi or Judge Jigoku? The answer will be revealed next time. See you all then.